paid. You cannot verbally or otherwise, ethically, morally, and perhaps once this bill is passed, legally validate the notion that somebody who works hard is going to get nothing while a corporate entity, well-meaning though it may be, is receiving $14 billion just this last year.
And as you articulated in your opening remarks, there's a reason this is called the American Music Fairness Act, because the way
we're not asking
unfair, hold on,
That's
if
right.
it was unfair decades ago, is it more or less fair today, given the change in technology, the change in the industry? It's not just
Yes, it's more unfair. It's more unfair now because once 1980 or so, when Napster started downloading and all that, and remember, we're only talking about in this bill AM, FM. We're not talking about streaming or anything else. That's for another bill, another time with other folks. It's a simple idea. My friend, when I go on the highways of America, is my radio station, and I'll turn to AM or FM to hear the music I want to hear, and they're playing it and charging advertising and so on. The people who are on that, who are singing my favorite song, are getting zero.
This may look like a celebrity appearance in Congress, but it's actually a test of whether America still believes work deserves compensation in the digital age. What's really being tested here is whether powerful legacy industries can operate under outdated rules while everyone else adapts to modern accountability. This raises broader questions about fairness, about how value is defined in our economy, and whether lawmakers will finally align policy with reality instead of nostalgia. In this video, we'll break down how this hearing exposes an imbalance in power, why it matters beyond entertainment, and what it tells us about who Congress is willing to protect and who they are willing to leave behind.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to all the witnesses for your participation today. I do want to begin with questions for Mr. Simmons, and I especially appreciate you because you're not just here advocating for your own self-interest, you're advocating for all artists.
No, I think that's not the headline. The headline is, I've done well thanks to the American dream, and I often say, God bless America, and people think I say it for a soundbite. I'm the proud son of a concentration camp survivor. And for me, those words mean something, and we should all get over the cornball, eye-raising things and realize where we're living. This ain't about me, my friend.
That's what.
Because I've done very well because America gave a first-generation legal immigrant the chance to do well, and it was not easy. I had to learn the language. I had to stop talking like this, dress British, think Yiddish. You know what I mean. I had to learn the culture, claw my way up to the top with three other guys that understood it, with no managers, no nothing. Do it the old-fashioned way. Roll up your sleeves. America is giving you the chance. The rest is up to you. It's not about me. I'm on top of Mount Olympus. As I said before, I was thinking of buying the building. This is about the future of our children.
What just happened here is a shift from personal success to institutional responsibility. This matters because when policy ignores everyday creators while celebrating exceptional stories, it creates a myth that success is guaranteed without protections. And that leads to a system where future artists face steeper climbs, fewer safety nets, and a marketplace that benefits corporations far more than the people who power it.
I'm trying to make, because you've been blessed and you've done well. And I think there's a misperception in the general public that most artists, if they kind of recognize the name, oh, they must have made it. They're all on top of Mount Olympus, but that's not the case. So what I want to hear from you is kind of reflect back to the earlier stages of your career. What would these type of royalty payments mean for emerging artists who are trying to build their career?
Every little bit helps. At the outset, I understand that a brand new artist isn't necessarily going to help a radio station get to a point, but perhaps I scratch your back. When they get bigger, they'll be more appreciative of WXRP or whatever that's called and say, you were there for me then, I'm going to be, it's about relationships. But if you work hard, the American way is you must get paid. You cannot verbally or otherwise, ethically, morally, and perhaps once this bill is passed, legally validate the notion that somebody who works hard is going to get nothing while a corporate entity, well-meaning though it may be, is receiving $14 billion just this last year.
And as you articulated in your opening remarks, there's a reason this is called the American Music Fairness Act, because the way
we're not asking
unfair, hold on,
That's
if
right.
it was unfair decades ago, is it more or less fair today, given the change in technology, the change in the industry? It's not just
Yes,
radio
it's
revenue
more
or
unfair.
not,
It's more
streaming.
unfair now.
What we see here is a direct challenge to an economic contradiction: profit without compensation for labor. This matters because law and policy shape who benefits from creative work in America. And if lawmakers ignore this imbalance, it signals that corporate interests outweigh fairness, setting a precedent that creative contributions are expendable.
Because once 1988 or so, when Napster started downloading and all that, and remember, we're only talking about, in this bill, AM, FM. We're not talking about streaming or anything else. That's for another bill, another time, with other folks. It's a simple idea. My friend, when I go on the highways of America, is my radio station, and I'll turn to AM or FM to hear the music I want to hear, and they're playing it and charging advertising and so on. The people who are on that, who are singing my favorite song, are getting zero for that performance. That's got to change.
This moment highlights the gap between modern tech realities and outdated law. It matters because when legislation fails to evolve, it doesn't freeze the system. It tilts it in favor of the most powerful players. And that leads to a structural imbalance where innovation benefits corporations first, while workers and creators are left behind.
I don't know if I answered your question, but I thought I was profound anyway.
Absolutely, absolutely. My last question, my time remaining, is for Mr. Huppy. Can you talk, we've focused on radio station owners, the broadcasters, we focus on artists. Are there other folks in the industry who stand to benefit from this bill? As Mr. Simmons says, not if, but when it is passed and signed into law. Do producers get impacted one way or the other, engineers, other behind-the-scenes folks?
The answer, Senator, is yes. This impacts the entire recorded side of the business. Many people participate in the creation of a recording. It's a huge part. It's a huge investment for the industry. It's what we all listen to when we turn on the radio. So, it's artists and record labels, studio producers, background musicians, background vocalists, engineers. It's a very hard job to bring a successful recording to the world. And all of those folks would benefit from this bill.
Last quick question, Mr. Chairman, if you'll indulge me, for Mr. Simmons. Not on the bill itself, but my youngest son, his name is Diego. He's 10 years old. He has quickly fallen in love, not with the bass, but with the electric guitar. What advice do you have for him?
Have a fallback position. And I say this seriously because since the advent of downloading and file sharing, where artists are actually getting minuscule amounts, barely able to get by. And by the way, I was a sixth grade teacher at a college education. I worked at Williamson & Williamson. I was the assistant to the director of the Puerto Rican Interagency Council, Boricua. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. The original Indians in Mexico, Magdalena Miranda, it was a government research and demonstration project. And because I had skills, I could type 90 words a minute, fix hexagraph, mimeograph, ad infinitum, ad nauseum. I was making $23,000 a year when that meant a lot of money, but doing the Jewish way, living with your mother, not paying rent and so on. So I amassed a large enough amount that I could support the band we were forming together without managers and everything else. The advice I have for everybody is always have a fallback position, because everybody believes, and God bless him for believing, I can reach the stars. Well, what happens if you don't? What's your fallback position? How old is he now?
10 years old, sir.
Okay, he's got time. What kind of music?
Oh, heavy metal.
Metal. You know what? There's the 10,000-hour principle. There was a book about it. The harder you work, the luckier you'll get, and always have the fallback position. By the way, if it's not a musician, there are managers and other things and personal. America's largest export besides aerospace is entertainment. Our emissaries are our pop culture heroes, and that includes rock stars. The term rock star is not just applied to music, but to politicians. When somebody's really good, you see Mr. Schiff over there, that's a rock star. You're applying a music term to that.
When you pass the bill.
When you're using it as a verb, let's rock.
We're going into extended play here. We need to move to Senator Wells.
This is important. Around the world, rappers call themselves rock stars. You go to anywhere in Africa, Europe, it's American culture. I'm getting the kick that says basically, shut up, let them talk. But I'm passionate about this because it goes back to our children. Don't let the future, our children, not have an opportunity to make a few pennies. We're not asking for a lot. You guys are making respectfully, Mr. Hinton, you guys are making $14 billion a year pre-tax. I understand the hardships of the American tax system. That should be changed also. Flat tax, everybody.
We're going to have to move to Senator Welch. Okay, if you've got a solution for that,
This frames the debate as generational, not financial. It matters because institutions shape what opportunities will exist 10 years from now, not just today. And if lawmakers fail to act, the consequence isn't just financial loss. It's a cultural ecosystem where creativity becomes a luxury instead of a profession. This hearing isn't just about royalties. It's about whether democratic institutions can correct systems that reward power over fairness. It tests whether Congress is willing to modernize outdated structures or allow imbalance to remain tradition. The broader implication is trust. If lawmakers won't defend the most obvious definition of fairness, getting paid for your work, how can citizens trust them to defend anything else? The moral truth is simple. Work should be valued, creativity deserves respect, and policy must evolve with reality. If America wants to remain a leader in culture, innovation, and opportunity, then our laws must reflect that principle. Support accountability. Support fairness. Subscribe to Liberty Report USA.